Have you ever wondered if people really get kicked off cruise ships? It happens more than you think, and some of the reasons might surprise you. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. With all the videos and stories lately about people fighting on cruise ships, I know a lot of us are kind of happy if people like that get kicked off of the cruise ship. But there are other reasons that people actually are disembarked from a cruise ship, well, when they don't really want to be. In this video, I'm going to go over the 10 different things that can get you kicked off a cruise ship so, well, you could avoid them. Now, in reality, if you're watching this video, it's unlikely that any of these things are really going to happen to you, but we do all agree to a cruise contract that most of us don't really read, and there is a guest conduct policy as well, and honestly, cruise lines are now really starting to enforce it. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Okay, let's start with an easy one. The first thing that people can do that can get them kicked off a cruise ship is refusing to do the safety drill or the muster drill. So this is something that we all need to do when we board a cruise ship and before the cruise ship leaves on embarkation day. Now, my understanding is there may be a little bit of leeway here, but not very much. People really do have to do this, and this is in our cruise contract. Number two, throwing anything at all overboard. So this can be anything from something that could be potentially very dangerous, like a cigarette butt, even if you're in the smoking area. And it can be something like maybe a straw, if there are any straws on cruise ships. It could be anything like a towel, something worse like a chair. So nothing can go overboard on a cruise ship. And this really is in the guest conduct policy. And not only can you be kicked off a cruise ship, but you will likely be fined, and you can even have to cover damages. Number three, not engaging in lewd, offensive, or indecent behavior. Now, some of these things are pretty obvious. Like, for instance, you do have to kind of keep your clothes on a cruise ship unless you're in your own cruise ship cabin. But otherwise, that would be, of course, considered like indecent behavior. But something else that was mentioned in the guest conduct policy was not to be wearing offensive clothing. And offensive clothing in particular that they point out is graphic images that could be offensive, anything with any racial slurs, that kind of thing. And that's very, very obvious, but we really don't want to wear any of this on cruise ships. And honestly, if you do any of these things, it is considered sort of belligerent towards other people and offensive, and it can get you kicked off a cruise ship. Number four, fighting or disruptive behavior. Now, this is definitely something we have to talk about. It has been all over the news recently. I don't even know why people would go on a cruise ship and start fighting with other people. In any case, this is something cruise ships are really taking seriously now. And as a matter of fact, not only will people get kicked off if they start fights and they are being disruptive on cruise ships, but Carnival has now said that they are also implementing a $500 fine. You could be responsible for damages and worse. And honestly, I applaud them for this. I really think there is no place for fighting on a cruise ship. And I should say, judging from the videos that I found when I was researching this topic, this is not only happening on Carnival cruise ships, and I do hope that all cruise lines are taking it very seriously. Number five, smoking in a non-designated area. Now, this is something that we all agree to in the guest conduct policy and in the cruise contract. There is only smoking in certain areas, and most of the time you cannot smoke on your cruise ship balcony or in your cruise ship cabin, and even on other areas of the cruise ship where it is not allowed. Now, cruise ships, of course, take this very seriously because a fire breaking out on board is about the worst thing that potentially can happen to a cruise ship. Very, very dangerous, and they can actually kick you off if you violate this policy. Number six, now speaking of smoking, you cannot bring any illegal drugs on the cruise ship. So, of course, if you bring illegal drugs on the cruise ship, you could even be arrested. So it can be worse than being disembarked from the cruise ship. But in particular, what I'm talking about is bringing marijuana on the cruise ship. I know sometimes people do ask about this, but you're not allowed to bring marijuana or weed on a cruise ship, even if it is legal in the state or the jurisdiction that you are sailing out of. And if they find out that you've been smoking this on the cruise ship, not only can they disembark you, but they can fine you up to $500, and they can charge you damages as well. That could even include cleaning fees of your cabin, and they can charge you after the fact and send that bill to your home. Number seven, climbing or doing anything dangerous like in and around the railings on a cruise ship. Now, we've all heard stories of people unfortunately doing things that are a little bit dangerous on those cruise ship railings. So that includes a few years ago, somebody standing up on the railing to take like a really cool selfie. That person was actually kicked off the cruise ship. Somebody else jumped off the cruise ship, I believe from about 15 decks. Thank God they survived. But many other people that have climbed on railings have actually fallen off and died. So obviously something very dangerous that nobody should ever do. And cruise ships take this very seriously. Not only will people be disembarked, but my understanding is they might be banned for life. Number 8, yelling profanities at the crew or the other guests. Now, unfortunately, something that does sometimes happen on cruise ships is maybe people have had a little bit too much to drink and maybe their judgment is a little bit affected, but they cannot be yelling at the crew or other guests or using profanities or racial slurs. That is definitely something that can get them kicked off the cruise ship. Now, I have a couple of other examples. One of them is a little bit funny, but the other one I don't think would have been very funny if any of us were on that cruise ship. So number 9 is, well, people cannot be intimate too loudly. So yes, I really did say that. Basically, there was a couple that was kicked off a cruise ship. I believe it was probably about 4 years ago. Maybe it's a little bit longer. But apparently they were just having too much fun in their own cruise cabin or their own cruise balcony, and they were really disturbing the neighbors. And yes, they were kicked off the cruise ship. Number 10. Now, I forgot to say this one earlier, so I do have that other one that's going to be a bit of a bonus. But number 10, anything that is a crime. So of course, any theft or any other kind of crime, you can be kicked off the cruise ship, but at the same time, you can be arrested by the local authorities. Okay, number 11, or let's call it a bonus, extreme heckling. So did people really get kicked off a cruise ship when they heckled at a show? Yes, they did. However, this was really just disruptive behavior. It was just one of the examples of the disruptive behavior. But basically, there was a group, they are called NELK, and they went on a cruise ship on the Celebrity Summit. And they were heckling the comedian. They were, I think, being rude to the cruise ship captain. They were heckling the cruise director. And yes, after a lot of disruptive behavior, they were kicked off that cruise ship after, I believe it was about 20 hours of a 5-day cruise. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. While I was making this video, it got me thinking about those offensive cruise ship t-shirts. So I'm going to leave a video right after this one all about what not to wear on a cruise. But please let me know, firstly, if you've ever seen anyone behaving badly like that on a cruise ship, and if they did actually get kicked off, what you think of the fighting on cruise ships. Should everybody who engages in fighting on a cruise ship be kicked off? Please let me know down in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.